Shiny, shiny, shiny,
I know, my
shiny,
shiny. I get shiny forehead.
No.
I got so much. My hairline used to be like down here, and then it's just doing that. And then this one,
It was
this
just
one.
connected to your eyebrows. It was just like.
It was.
I think it's cool that we can see the lights.
You like that?
Hello, Diva.
Oh, thanks.
Let's wipe
Oh,
you down.
wait.
Oh.
You're good.
Jeez.
It's
Like,
amazing what
right.
these kind of tissues can do.
I like that. You are well worth the money.
Well worth. I'd pay you
Well worth
double
the
what you're
pretzel.
being paid now. Maybe
Double.
even triple.
Christmas bonus. Well worth. Well worth the tchotchkes. La la la.
Yep.
Christmassy, Christmassy, Christmassy. But guess what?
What?
We're already rolling. And guess what?
What?
It's a holiday show.
Yay!
Holiday
special!
show!
Yay!
Yay!
Oh,
All
you
right.
gotta love the
Don't you-
holiday specials.
Don't you love the holiday specials?
The best.
They're the best.
It
you
is
know?
the second most wonderful time of the year. Halloween's gone away. See you next year. It's Christmas time.
And it's also like Hanukkah time.
Yes, and,
And
Kwanzaa
Kwanzaa,
time.
I think, comes around.
And Festivus for the rest of us.
That's right.
exactly.
So-
who was that? That was the. I think that was the Festivus Christmas ghost.
That's
there
right,
In the
ghost of the
background. Yes.
most. So
Yes.
whatever you celebrate,
all welcome
congratulations,
here.
but
Yeah.
welcome here, exactly. We are open to everyone. We appreciate you joining us on The Cult Show. Again, our holiday episode.
Yes,
Very
you got your lovely
exciting.
Christmas sweater
I got my Christmas sweater on,
Christmas
that's right, my
Freddy.
red and green. My Christmas Freddy, our Christmas Freddy is
You
right
know,
behind us.
That's right. And I love that it works perfectly for Christmas and Halloween. It's
It
like
does.
you kill two birds with one
So,
stone.
Wes
or
Craven
kill a bunch of
knew-
teenagers.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah,
He knew what he was doing.
He did.
Um,
he did.
So we're here again in the basement of the Roxy Cinemas in Santa Rosa, California.
All right, all decorated for the holidays.
Our holiday decorations. Thank you to Wanda, our
Thanks,
stylist.
Wanda.
Thank you. We brand prop girl
Prop
now.
girl, stylist,
Set decorator.
face blotter,
Extraordinaire.
Oh, jinx! Owe me a
Right.
Coke.
Nice.
We're not
Ouch.
sponsored by Coke. No, we're
No.
not. Yeah.
Jolt.
Yeah. Mr. Pim.
Mr. Archicola. Okay. So yeah, what do we like about the holidays? What is it you love? Because you are a holiday girl.
I am a holiday
So-
girl
and
in
this
a
is a holiday world.
world. That's two Mr. Pibbs yelling me now.
Now you're
My
kinda freaking
goodness
me out a little
gracious. You know me, I got the Hallmark Channel on 24/7, watching all those great Christmas movies. God, I want to be in one of those so bad. Seriously, I really do.
And your husband still sticks around.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
He
Just
will.
checking.
He's the one that puts them on.
Really?
He loves them. Yeah.
Wow. I think he
Yeah.
loves you.
I hope so.
That's
I
what
hope
it is.
so. But yes, the closest I've ever gotten to being in a Hallmark Christmas film was I was an extra in Mrs. Washington Goes to Smith, a Hallmark film with Sybil Shepherd.
Mrs. Washington Goes to Smith.
Yes,
Not Mr.
yeah.
Smith Goes to Washington.
No, see that
Wow.
little, yeah. See, they're
Okay.
clever. With
They're
a little
clever in the Hallmark Channel.
Wordplay there, but that's the closest I ever got. But yeah, oh, it's fun seeing the fake snow in the summertime. And,
Right.
Yeah. But so yeah, we got those going on 24/7. We've got our Harry Potter Christmas tree all lit up with our Harry Potter ornaments. And
Is it it's a tree that has Harry Potter ornaments, or is
Yes.
it really a Harry Potter tree?
so it's got Harry Potter ornaments and then blue and gold lights because we are Ravenclaw. That's our house, and so our house colors are blue and bronze. So we had to represent that. So,
so it
yeah.
sounds like you have a fun time.
Yes. Yeah. Fun
All right.
time.
Caleb, I see that you're here, dressed in your holiday
Ah,
best.
frickin' humbug.
Oh, somebody doesn't like the holidays.
You look pretty good, if you ask me.
Oh, well,
He's
thank you.
laughing through the tears.
I think the headphones make the outfit, though.
Like DJ Santa.
I'm DJ Santa.
Santa in his house.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your holiday celebration?
So what have we done? So far we have set up the tree. I've got young kids, so I do the whole elf on the shelf thing.
Oh. What's he gotten into this
so
year?
So we've got to get, creative, I guess, with what Marley, the elf on the shelf does in our house. So don't laugh at me.
This is Elf on Michelle,
sorry,
this is
that
a
beard
very
is-
serious topic here.
No, the beard. It like moves up into his mouth. What's it taste like?
It's gross and it smells terrible.
Ooh. Is that a used costume that you got? Who wore that before?
The Goodwill. What? They clean their stuff, right?
Sure.
The guy was
Sorry.
ringing the bell. Neil gave him $1 and he said, "I want the hat."
He said, "Oh, goodwill toward men." That's how you got it.
Props to Kayla for wearing that thing.
Dedication to the show.
Yes.
There you go.
What about you? How's your holiday season been so far?
So far, so good.
Okay.
Tree is up. We do it right the day after Thanksgiving. Tree goes up, decorated.
You're on a tight schedule.
Oh yeah. The wife is the Christmas gal, so
Nice, yeah.
she doesn't like the Halloween thing. And
Okay.
then, so I, of course, but she allows me to indulge.
Yep,
Therefore,
very
I
good.
do everything I can for her for Christmas.
Aw.
So yeah, it's a good time. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
the kids at this point, the kids are old enough now that it's about the presents. It's not about Santa Claus anymore.
Yeah. What are
any
they
kind of
asking
thing.
for this year? What's the hot?
My
holiday
son,
gift?
he's almost 17 and he wants clothes, lots of clothes.
Nice.
A new phone, which he's not getting.
What? Spoiler alert.
So he's not gonna watch this, I don't think. So,
Oh.
I don't know.
He might.
Actually, maybe during editing though, he's gonna hear that now.
Yeah.
So
Which he's not getting.
I will
Sad.
enjoy his tears.
Aw.
And yeah, I shouldn't say much more, just in case anyone else hears me while
But
this
here's
is
the
playing
question.
somewhere. Yeah.
What do you want for Christmas?
Oh boy, what do I want for Christmas? Honestly, I just want peace on earth and goodwill towards men.
Aw,
You know, and I want Jeffrey Weissman. But you know,
That's
someday,
a great gift idea.
someday, you know,
I know. I wish.
that's
right?
a great gift.
Yeah. Fun for the
But-
whole family.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
Who doesn't love Back to the Future?
I don't know. Part 2. And of course 3
And
though.
of course, part 3.
Don't forget them both,
I
right?
know. I won't
That's
forget.
awesome.
I won't forget. Yeah.
Hey, so before we segue into the movies and things we're going to be talking about in our holiday special,
Yes.
did you guys know that William Shatner is releasing a new Christmas album?
Is
What?
He, is he for
It
real?
is called Shatner Claus. I shat you not.
Are you sure?
William Shatner's album is called Shatner Claus.
This is for
and there'll be
real.
a
You're not
picture.
making this
no,
up.
this is the
Oh
album
my
cover.
gosh.
And it's William Shatner. We'll have a picture. It's better on here, but this is the actual album cover.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
amazing.
and I listened to some of the songs because I wanted to see what it was about.
Yeah.
And it's got him doing like jingle bells, but he's doing like jingle bells.
Like in his.
Yeah,
in
I
his
can't do it.
way.
Jingle
yeah,
bells.
In his signature.
There you
Jingle
go. You know,
bells.
in his signature thing. But you know, he has on his album with him. It's like
Right.
duets, lots of duets.
Oh, okay.
He's got Henry Rollins.
No.
Doing,
what?
I think might be doing the Jingle Bells one even. And there's a regular version which is fun, and then there's a
Okay.
punk version at the end of the album.
Oh, cool.
And then you got Iggy Pop doing Silent
Wow.
Night with him. So, and he's got like some Brad Paisley, I think, and some other people that it's more normal. But those two.
But like he's got big, big
well, Henry
stars
Rollins, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like got this
yeah.
kind of like a rah 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 thing they're doing. It's hysterical. So I mean,
Wish you
you should check it
a
out.
Merry Christmas.
What?
We wish
hear that?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Merry
buy
Christmas.
the album? Is
Now
that?
give us
No.
some
Is-
figgy pudding.
Is William Shatner
Give
here?
us some figgy pudding. Bring it right here. Bring it right
sounds
here.
like-
It's coming from outside our fake
We
door.
won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some.
Check
So
that
bring
out.
some
Okay.
right here.
Wait, do you have the music playing?
Laughing all the
Nope.
way.
Where's that?
Bells. A
There's
bobtail
nothing back
ring.
there, Neil.
Making spirits bright.
Oh my goodness!
It's Jeffrey
Weissman!
Yeah! Oh my God!
Mr. Weissman!
Jingle bells.
It looks freezing out there.
Get in here! Come on! Warm up. Oh,
Come on in.
Jingle bells.
What's the chord?
Watch that.
Jingle bells.
So how are you?
Oh, just as I am.
All right. What brings you to the basement tonight?
My mom's Mini Cooper.
Ooh.
All right. Nice.
That's right. I have it parked down in the basement.
Does she know you have it?
I-
Did your mom know?
Yes, she knows.
Okay.
Okay.
It was part of her estate. She's no longer with. Having
sorry.
Christmas without her is very difficult, and those of you out there who've lost someone, you know, here we are for you.
That's right. The three of us. before.
Welcome to our
All right, let's
happy
not.
little
Let's go on
family.
as if I didn't say anything. I don't know where I was going with all that.
Now we're all sad.
But
yeah.
it's nice to meet you,
You're welcome.
Kelly.
Nice to meet you as well.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here and joining us. On
Do
this.
you mind if I hold your hand and kiss your dainty?
Oh, my dainty. Oh, thank you. Oh.
I missed.
Was it minty at least? Was it?
It is.
Oh, good. Maybe rub some of that candy on you. Pour some
Should I go? Is that what you're saying?
No,
I-
the three of us make a lovely couple.
Oh,
right
we do.
here.
Okay, it's true. All right. Oh my goodness!
Oh, open your present! Open your
I'm sorry,
present!
I forgot. I got
Yeah,
so
can't wait
excited.
any longer.
I got so excited. I forgot.
It's
That,
panties.
It's just what I needed.
Wear them on your head. Wear them on your head.
These are the panties? What? No, that's gonna feel
the
awful.
G-string.
Floss.
Okay.
It looks like it does.
Oh no! Yes, hold it up to. There you
Hold
go.
it to camera.
Ta-da!
Resting Grinch face.
Nice.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
It was caught in your leg.
The place was going out of business. It was half off.
It's half off.
All right.
So
But
there
it
you
was still
go.
half on though.
Yeah, we were hoping you put the half on that.
Okay.
Would you model for us,
Covers.
Neil?
Should I put it over top of the sweater, or should I put it?
Just over your head. Da-da-da-da.
And then Kayla's be like, "You're Mike. You're Mike."
Oh
No, I'm Neil.
Don't ruffle.
wait.
Don't ruffle. Cut away till you laugh.
Why am I suddenly the shoe?
Caleb, give us a ha ha ha! Oh,
And a couple of fa la las.
Fala freaking oh!
Fa la 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 la.
Wow.
That's how.
Wow, that's tight, babe. We
Yeah.
can't quite read it. We can't quite read it. You got to straighten it out. There we go.
I can take the sweater off first, maybe.
Wait, it says you're a Grinch. No, a Grinch face. Yeah, you're a wrestling Grinch.
What kind of show is this?
No, resting Grinch face. There you go.
There, that's it. That's
I feel like I'm 8 years old.
Mommy, wow.
It's that time of season we all got to kind of revert back to our childhood.
That's
All
true.
alive.
That's true. Yes.
So
Okay, well, now I feel bad because we didn't get anything for you.
we
I
got.
got a drink here. This is.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, Jeffrey. How has
Can I
your
keep the
holiday
mug?
Where the
been?
heck are you?
Can I keep the mug?
Can you-
Can that be my
Little
gift?
souvenir?
Yeah, until you leave, it's all yours. Nothing but the best in the culture, baby.
No wonder you call it creep show. Bunch of creeps won't even give me a mug. What the heck?
So people might not realize that you're an actor. So
And if they don't, then I am so terribly sorry.
How do you know? How can you tell?
and you have got a long history of
Yes, but
You're
don't
like,
worry.
wow, really?
That's across the street. The police department. Come on.
working in the film industry.
Yeah, you know,
and amongst, of
industry.
course, you do theater as well.
You were talking about your extra work on that
Yes.
film, you know, and I
Have
did
you been extra as well?
about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
When I first started, you whippersnippers.
Maybe you need the cane. There you go.
right.
The cane.
And let me
There you
tell
go.
you.
There you go. Yeah.
I wanted to get on a movie set. And I wanted to act, so I paid $90 to this company that would put you in films as an extra in these
Oh.
crowd scenes.
I remember those. Yeah.
And so Robert Zemeckis is one of his first films I worked on called I Want to Hold Your Hand. And Wendy Jo Sperber and what's his name? That funny nerd guy that Zemeckis uses all the time. Anyway,
Quick, funny Google funny nerd guy.
IMDb, Eddie
Zemeckis uses all the
Eddie
time.
Deason. He's going
Got
to slap
it.
me for forgetting his name for a minute, but he forgets my name all
so
the
AD
time.
from Greece. AD Deason from Greece.
Yeah.
Okay.
They starred. Anyway, it's snowing is about January 1st, and the Beatles are in New York, and we're in the Burbank Studios backlot, and it's 90 degrees out, and it's supposed to be snowing in New York, so they're constantly watering the street down between takes, make it look cold. All the extras are bundled up, big coats and everything, and the temperature keeps climbing as the day goes on, and the extras need to eat, and they're not, and they're dropping like flies. That's movie magic.
Typical extra. Sounds like a typical day as an extra, right?
January in New York.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, shooting in September in Burbank. that
Wonderful.
happens. Yeah.
When it's really hot.
Who
Yes.
thought of that? And
course.
Zemeckis, I guess, was having a hard time with all the crowds getting on, so he brought his buddy in, Steve, to direct us.
Mr. Spielberg, Steve.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
So it was like, who's that guy up there yelling at everyone now? On the ladder with a megaphone. He
Right.
says, "Oh, that's the guy who directed Jaws." Spielberg. Oh. Little did I know that that was the first of, I think, 5 films I've done with him.
Wow. Oh my
Nice.
So it was, he executive produced and also directed on Twilight Zone movie, which I was in George Miller's segment.
Yes.
And then Back to the Future 2 and 3, and something else. Maybe it's yet to
Quick,
come.
IMDb.
Oh, and so yeah, I'm in the remake of West Side Story.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's on the east side?
Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned Twilight Zone the movie.
Crumpkey. I'm gonna be Crumpkey.
You could be Grumpy.
Oh.
Dear
Officer
Officer Grumpy.
Grumpy. Oh,
Uh-oh.
don't get the musical
Musical.
people started. Okay.
Got us.
I mean, why? Why the
the?
are they remaking that film? Come on, Steven.
So that wasn't a joke. They really are remaking it.
Yeah, he's casting right now.
I thought you were just being funny.
I hadn't heard that. Yeah.
This
Well, I
is
have-
funny. This is being funny. I'm gonna be funny. Spielberg's doing West Side Story.
How have I not? I haven't
You
heard
better
that.
try out for that.
Well,
Quick.
I'll be the next Natalie Wood.
Well, hopefully not.
No, yeah, not
Hey,
the
she's
next
from Santa
Natalie
Rosa.
Wood, but
She's born in Santa
You got
Rosa.
Natalie's looks.
Really?
You
Yeah.
know, I got
Wow.
the hometown. We got,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, stay away from Robert Wagner. That's all I
feel
gotta
pretty.
say.
Oh, but you know.
So anyway,
Yeah. So Twilight Zone the movie.
Twilight Zone.
You
All the
and I
cult
have
fans know
actually
that
met
one.
before when we showed Twilight Zone the movie.
We worked on it.
And you and I, remember?
We worked on.
I was your
don't
fiance, if I
you.
remember right.
Oh yeah, you were.
I was in the wig holding your hand. So, that was last night, sorry.
That was, you had a very, very receptive cult audience that night. That was great. They hung on my every story.
They did. They hung
I
on
was
all your
actually,
words.
I met
I
you
love
before
it.
that. You,
No, we
you
met
had me for
many
Sgt.
years
Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
That's right.
The double billed with Xanadu,
That's right.
which I had never
That
seen.
was a fun night.
That's
actually.
another Christmas movie. Oh boy.
There you go.
That was fun. Xanadu. Xana. Anyway,
Another one that got made into a Broadway musical.
yes.
Yeah.
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 And I would say Xana don't. But
You know what? It's worth it for Gene Kelly alone, if you ask me.
yeah, well,
That
he
scene with
directed
him-
it, didn't he?
Xanadu?
I think he directed it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
pretty sure.
that's a Santa Claus.
And my friend
That's a
Cheryl,
Caleb Claus,
my friend Cheryl Baxter's in there singing and dancing in her first film. It was great to see her in that.
Oh.
She went on to choreograph Dreamgirls and a lot of big
Nice.
things. But and so that I love that on films that I'm on. If they're dancers, I go right to the dancers and choreographers. I love dancers and choreographers on For the Boys with Bette Midler and gosh, a lot of great people. Arliss Howard and I have a scene together with Norman Fell, and I went right to the dancers and hung out with them, and we ended up in Jimmy Cahn's dressing room, and James Caan and I had competition over these beautiful dancers, telling who could tell the best jokes to make them laugh and try to seduce them. And every joke I told, James Caan would tell the punchline before I'd get to it. I was like,
Oh man.
but I had to get when I was young, I'm now old, and I had to be on a big time set after moving up here to Northern California. So I said, I want to go work on a big film. So I got in on Rent when it was shooting down at Chris Columbus shooting on
Right.
Treasure Island there, or Alameda, wherever we were. And went right for the dancers.
I was gonna say,
you know,
yeah,
and-
there must have been some
and
good-looking dancers on that
recognized
one,
a few of the dancers I knew from Hollywood Days, and I'm having invited to have lunch with them, eating there, and I'm an extra, even though I'm going to dance in La Vie Boheme scene. You see me dancing on the table and stuff, and
That's an iconic. You got to be on the table in La Vie Boheme. Man, that is.
oh, they cut the.
This is
crap
Jeffrey
out of it.
frickin' Weissman here.
That's an iconic musical theater moment.
So
Yeah.
the AD just comes over and says, "You're not allowed over here. You're not. Well, get out." I was invited here by the dancers to eat with them. Please, please let me eat, madam, please. And she's like, "You were invited?" Mm. And she goes away.
Wow.
But
wow,
I was like, things have changed. They don't treat extras with any respect, and it's at least a lot of shoots don't. I see it all the time, and
Fun.
it still goes on, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't because
Yeah.
they're just as important to the story because they're part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear of some sets where there isn't this segregation that the extras will get the same food at lunch as the principals, or get the same break times and all. And they should, because, yeah, they don't have a lot to do, but they're still very important to bringing to life the story. And I remember I guest starred on a episode of Scarecrow and Mrs. King, and during the first season, it was the second highest rated episode that season. I remember it was really cool to be there, and I had really no wheels to get myself to the set, so I borrowed my neighbor's car and had one headlight, no clutch, very little brakes. I don't think I had tail lights, a little VW Bug, and drove myself in the dark to get there in time and for the call. And I remember driving up, and one of the union guys said, the studio comes send you a car and pick you up. Why are you driving this thing? I was like, really? Oh, good to know. And I just started socializing. Went over to the group at the catering, and after a while, I'm hanging, talking with the extras and hanging out there. After a while, AD comes and finds me and says, Mr. Weissman, here's your dressing room over here and there. And all the extras were like, you're the guest star? What are you doing with us? I was like, why this weird segregation, power station? I don't know. Let me drink.
Yeah.
Take it. So speaking of dancers, you had a nice little interaction with Alice Cooper's wife on.
Oh, don't tell him that. Oh God! Now it's on the open.
Yeah. I mean, he's our #1 fan, so I'm sorry.
I really, I don't know what it is, but yeah, one of those extra jobs I did in '78. I played Strawberry Field's brother in the scene where they're going off in the hot air balloon at the beginning. There's a fat guy, a fat girl, and put a thin kid next to him and watch and wave. You're Strawberry Field's family. Okay, we're with her. And then I'm in the crowd with Got to Get You Into My Life with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yep. And then I get called in to be one of the brainwashed Boy Scouts. Steve Martin turns the people of Pepperland into these Boy Scout things.
He does the
terrible costumes.
Bang Bang Maxwell Silver Hammer.
Yeah, and then the next scene we're in is Cooper mean Mr. Mustard? Whatever.
No,
he's it's a weird character.
Oh, the
name.
Sun one.
The Sun King.
Sun King.
Oh.
And we're in his lair, and we actually get choreographed to do these moves.
Yes.
Whoa.
I remember it stayed with me.
You still got the choreography down. That's great.
50 years ago. What was it? 40 years? Anyway, I'm old. And Alice is up on the video, and we're choreographed. We're learning the dance, and there's this very comely, beautiful blonde dancer who is very friendly, and I'm 18 years old, and my hormones are driving me, and I'm just sort of kind of puppy-eyed. Hi, how are you? Fun. And I remember first thing in the morning, I out of makeup, and is that pot? And I follow my nose, and it leads me to Barry Gibb, who's sitting there, and I'm like, you're smoking pot at 7:30 in the morning? He goes, well, there's a little tobacco. You want something? I'm smoking pot with the Bee Gees. Oh boy! And you're ruining it with the
Is that how you get
tobacco.
those voices, like from all that smoking? It's like,
It could be.
And it was really cool. I remember Robin came over and said, look, Children of the World, News of the World, whatever that album was that had just come out.
From Queen?
No, it's not. The Bee Gees album. What is it?
Okay.
Something of the World. Whatever it was in '78. I had just made #1, and I was the first to congratulate them. I was like, Robin, gosh, you're so goofy. And Barry, congratulations, Maurice, good for you. And so we go to work, and I'm really quite taken with this dancer. By the second day of the shoot, she invites me to join her and the other dancers for lunch at the Mexican restaurant across the street from MGM, and I'm like, this is cool, all right, she likes me, and so third day I'm gonna get my gumption up to hey, can I get your number? And so it's 7:30 in the morning, skip the pot cigarette with Barry and go right to the set, and there she is, Cheryl, it's like, oh, there's Cheryl. I go right up to her, and she goes, oh, Jeffrey, I want you to meet my husband, Alice. So that was the end of that romance. And they're still married.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're
Nice.
friends with, I'm friends with David Winters from the original West Side Story. He was one of the key gang Jets, and then he became a huge choreographer for television and movies, and he wrote me the other day and said that Alice and Cheryl were visiting with him in Miami.
Wow.
And he's still choreograping to this day.
He
I mean, he's
is.
still, yeah.
Blenders.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I recently
He's
saw
older than me. So you know, you're triggering all these different stories in my mind, and they're all crashing. So I'm not sure what you want to hear. I'll
Yeah,
go forever.
I mean, there's so much. We want to talk
Yeah.
about, of course, Back to the Future. We have to get there.
Oh.
But before that could probably be a very large discussion, I would think.
Yeah, I feel like we could do a whole episode
I'll use big
on,
words.
Yeah.
You use big words. You do. You
Milk it
confuse me
out,
often.
milk it out.
But
Um,
can we talk real quick a little Johnny Dangerously?
Sure.
Because that's
Oh yeah.
that's one of those comedies that are just out there. I don't think a ton of people have seen it.
underrated?
I don't remember it. Underrated for
underrated.
sure.
That was what a great ensemble Amy Heckerling put together there. I remember getting out of makeup kind of early and waiting around, you know, to go to work, and here comes Maureen Stapleton to report to makeup, and she's still in her house coat with her newspaper under her arm and just shuffling in and walking right in front of me, and I'm like, this is a living legend, you know, Maureen Stapleton. Wow. And, you know, who cares how much she drinks and how foul-mouthed she is? She's a legend and a great actress. And she's walking right past me, and I'm like, and without even looking at me, shuffling along, she says, "It's impolite to stare at an old lady first thing in the morning." She's walking. And you know, I love being on the set. That was when I first met Dom DeLuise, who later helped me. He'd have my partner and I, who played Laurel and Hardy at Universal, warm up his crowds when he was hosting the new Candid Camera. And you know, Michael Keaton was very friendly and really, you know, not gregarious. What's the word? Enigmatic? No, charismatic. Charismatic. He's charismatic. He's really got it going. And I didn't get a chance to, you know, really meet or work with Joe Piscopo, but I was a big fan. I thought he was hilarious at Saturday Night Live and such. So before leaving, I knocked on his dressing room, just wanted to say hi, and he says, "Come in." All right. And so I go in and introduce myself to Joe and sit down with him for the next hour, because he had a lot of time. He says, "Well, tell me about yourself." And, you know, I love working on movies. I love working on movies. You know, and so it was really great. And it's too bad his career didn't really blossom more in film and stuff. I don't know. I think steroids might have. I don't want to go there. But you know, that film was a musical.
Oh yeah?
It was originally a musical.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, Mary Lou Henner's numbers stays in the film.
Yeah.
But okay, so I'm not really independently wealthy actor. I'm not making a great living at the time. So I'm making my living cooking or waitering, and the catering company that I was waitering for at that time got the wrap party for Johnny Dangerously at 20th Century Fox. So I'm serving at the wrap party for a film I'm in. So I bring Amy Heckerling her drink, and I bring Michael Keaton his drink, and Michael looks at me, and he goes to Amy and says, "What, wasn't he in the film?" It was a nice moment. But then at the wrap party, they showed all the musical numbers, and they were terrible.
Oh,
They were terrible. God, no one could sing in that cast.
Oh wow.
No wonder.
Except for Mary Lou.
Except for
Mary Lou.
her numbers.
That was a musical. I
Wow.
never knew that. Wow.
probably unreleased in someone's archive. You know, one day someone will pay $1 gazillion, like the Jerry Lewis movie where he's in the concentration camp as the clown. You know, one day that film
One day.
will
Right.
appear. It's like,
Wow.
God forbid.
Yeah.
That would be one of the funniest musicals that I'd probably ever see, I would think. Because the movie stands alone as it is a great comedy. So you don't think so?
I do. I love it.
I think it'd be a very funny musical.
It is very funny, and
great film.
let's see, what other musicals? I get to work with music all the time. A year before Johnny Dangerously, I was cast by Louis Malle to do this little bit in a film called Crackers that was shot up here in San Francisco, and my scenes with Sean Penn, who plays kind of this half-wit Texan, and I think they hired me because I said, you know, I'm from San Francisco, even though we were in LA. And they said, well, then you can cover your own room and board. And I was like, what? You want the part? And I went, yeah. So I come up to San Francisco to shoot my scene, and it's raining and you know, off and on, so they have difficulties and they get postponed. But it's nice to hang out with Donald Sutherland was in it, and Jack Warden and Wallace Shawn, and I'm hanging out with the cast and then really these legends and smoking doobie with Donald Sutherland. It's really fun. And then finally after like a week of on again, off again rain and pushback, they finally say, go back to LA. We're not going to get to your scene. Okay, and my scene is basically I'm dancing and Sean Penn's character is playing the harmonica, and so I can't hear the band. I'm hanging out at the stage door, and I tell Sean to screw up, you know, fuck, I can't. I want to hear the band. Anyway, so 2 months later, I get a call from Universal. They're going to shoot your scene. Finally, okay, you go to Universal Studio City and get there and to shoot the scene, and they're making it rain. I thought that was very ironic that they now have to make it rain to match the stuff that was raining up in San Francisco. Not a great story. Not a great story. My line was cut, so forget that movie.
So
A lot of my lines are cut. Twilight Zone, you know, George Miller had us rehearsing and would come up with lines and bits and stuff. And I probably, with the girl, Margaret Fitzgerald, who was playing my wife, we came up with a half dozen lines and bits. We're fighting over the pillow because we think we're going to crash. Like the pillow's really going to help us when we crash.
Right.
And George said, that's great, keep it in, keep it in, keep it in. And Gary Brown and Steadicam is shooting all our stuff, and Alan Davio is cinematographer. It was great to work on that set. But none of my stuff is left. I think half of one line, maybe a line and a half, a couple bits. But yeah, cutting room floor is not my friend. And
I
Back
think
to the
most
Future.
actors would
is the same
agree.
thing.
A lot of good stuff gets cut. I mean, there's so many things I think you could say the same that you haven't seen.
Well, I teach, I coach actors around the world. I do it by Skype. Look me up.
Technology, yay.
I could be your coach. You know, one of the main things I tell my actors is as soon as you get on a set, especially if it's an indie, is make friends with the editor. First of all, they'll be honored because no one seeks out the editor generally. And they have very little contact generally with the performers. And we make friends with the editor and get an agreement with the director. If you're not getting much money scale or doing it for free, at least your payment could be your footage. And, you know, like
Which
you say,
is hard. It's rare to get your footage. They always say, "Oh, we'll give you a copy." It never happens.
get it in
Essentially,
writing.
It never
Get
happens.
it in
Yeah.
writing, damn it.
I
Business
should
of
have
acting.
done that. I should have
Yeah.
done that. Like
From
my
now on,
first
okay?
student film, a lot of my old like student films,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
I did, you
Yeah.
know, I did a student film with Greg Araki, you know, and I didn't get my foot. John Schwartzman, I screen tested. I was going to screen test for Lady Hawk for Matthew's role of the mouse, and I had one of the only scripts that Dick Donner sent to me, and John Schwartzman was our cinematographer on the student project. And he asked, when he heard I had that script, he said, "Can I borrow it?" I said, "Yeah, get it right back to me." He said, "Sure, I will." And that was 37 years ago, 40 years ago. "John, I'd like my script back." Anyway, and Catherine Hardwick, you know, I did Road Girls with her, and your friend Lisa Wilcox.
Oh yes, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa's in that,
Okay.
and a lot of fun. Carl Bressler, who produced Smoke Signals.
Okay.
A lot of Michael Werb wrote it and co-produced, who later wrote Mask and other films. Anyway, it was really these small projects, these little student projects, or these little, you know, we're going to make a trailer and get the financing. You know, you never know who you're going to work with. I was in an acting class with a guy named Lawrence, and he said, you know, "Jeff, I want to make films, you know, not only act in them, but I want to make them too." And I said, "Great, I know a money guy, you know." He says, "Great, I got a guy with a great script." And so he set up a meeting with this guy, and I had just done Pale Rider with Clint Eastwood, so I was kind of high. I'm going to work forever now. And Clint loves me. He kissed me, but no tongue. Anyway, so I go over to Lawrence's apartment, and there's this guy with this little tight suit on and a briefcase and glasses, and he's like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy?" And is this Jeff Weissman? He just did a film with Clint Eastwood, and he's got a money guy, and I want to see the script. I want to read the script of this action adventure this guy's got. And he goes, "I don't know him. I don't want to give him my script." I'm like, "Well, how am I going to get funding for it?" He says, "Well, I'll give you the script of my last film I did, which he did a slasher film with Alvy Moore from Green Acres is the name." And I was like, "Okay, a slasher film. I don't know if my investor's going to like that, but I'll tell him you got Italian distribution, which he had already for the next film, double the money." And so, make a long story short, my guy passed, and the guy with the script in the briefcase was Quentin Tarantino. It was Reservoir Dogs, and he wouldn't let me see the script.
Wow.
And so Lawrence ended up taking the script to our acting coach, who sent it to his wife, who was teaching in New York, who's in her class was Harvey Keitel, and she shared it with him, and the rest is history.
Wow.
I was this close.
That close.
Producing
touch it.
Reservoir Dogs. Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Lawrence is still producing Quentin
So
stuff.
Lawrence as in Lawrence
Wow.
Bender.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You never know who. You see, on the way up, be nice to everyone.
That's right.
It's
Because you don't
true.
know who's going to kick you on the way down.
Very true. Very true.
You had
So-
mentioned Lady Hawk, and that is not the first Matthew Broderick film you had auditioned for. Is
You
that
had to
correct?
bring that up, huh?
I just, I like to hear your story. I'm sorry.
Audition stories. Yay!
Audition stories. We all have
Always-
our.
I,
Yes.
I got called
Oh.
back for,
Oh, boy.
was it Brighton Beach Memories on stage?
Oh.
For Neil Simon's
Neil Simon.
Yeah.
first production of that down at the Mark Taper, and they liked me for it, and then I didn't get that, but Matthew did. And then in '81, I was going to San Francisco State, and I went to ACT, and then taking my intermediate before going to the advanced program at ACT at State. And while I was there was posters saying looking for young actor or non-actor to be considered for a lead in a major motion picture. And I was like, I got a buddy who should go for this, because my friend Lincoln, his dad, who founded the committee, Alan Meyerson, Lincoln was always told by his dad, "You can't act. What are you doing? Don't waste your time." Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Lincoln, show your dad. Go on this." Because he was 18 and I was already 20. I was an old guy. And so the day of the audition down at Fort Mason, I had been in Santa Cruz having a grad party with my girlfriend at the time, and kind of hungover. I called Lincoln up. "Are you going to go to this thing?" And he goes, "Nah." I said, "Well, come on. Show your dad. You got to do it." And he goes, "I'll go if you'll go with me." I was like, "Can I use your razor?" Okay. I use his electric razor. It doesn't do anything with my thick beard. Anyway, so we go to this thing, and there are 500 guys. It's a cattle call for this lead in this film, and they're going through them 6 at a time. 6 at a time they're going through these guys, and I fill out this paper. I'm laughing at this because it's cattle call Hollywood bullshit. And I wrote this, because tell us about your acting. I goes, "I'm going for naturalism and realism," which I was, and always try to do, unless I'm hemming it up like this. And that caught their eye, I guess. And they, out of the 6 that I went in with Lincoln, he and I were both asked to stay behind. And we read a scene for the director with their actress, with their reader. And Lincoln was dismissed, and then they kept me and asked me to read a second scene. And I read the second scene, and they went, "Yeah, okay, thanks." And I went, "Oh, darn." And then I left to go catch up with my friend. And as I get to my car in the parking lot, this gal's going, Jeffrey, come back, Jeffrey." And I'm like, "Huh? The director wants to see you again." I was like, "Me? Okay." And I come back in, and the director, who was Martin Brest, says, "Listen, you were very good on the first reading, the second reading not so much." And I said, "Well, I'm kind of hungover. I'm kind of, a little one step out." And I said, "All right, read the first scene again." And I did. And he turns to Wallace Nisita, this casting director at the time, and says, I want him to test." Just like that. Wow. Out of 500 guys.
Right.
And I'm like, "Huh? Okay." And the film's called The Genius. And I'm like, wow. And over the next 6 months, I'm waiting for the screen test to happen, because the film goes into turnaround, you know, when it loses its backing. And the only name they have for the attached to the film is Warren Oates. And Warren Oates dies. And so it's like, we have no star now. We're back to square one. And so I have trips to LA from San Francisco, and I go visit the set, and Martin Brest, you know, greets me and shows me this massive set and all these fun things at MGM again. And even though it's a Universal production, it was like interesting. But the test keeps getting postponed, and I'm reading with other actors for these other roles, and then this agent pursues me because Martin's told her I'm his favorite for the lead in this film. I'm going, wow, pinch myself. Okay, and I'm telling everyone at school, I don't know that I can finish this school semester. I don't know what's going on. Finally, the date is set to go ahead with the screen test, and Ali Sheedy and I are screen testing together. And the same day, Eric Stoltz and Brian Backer, who had just won a Tony Award on Broadway, and John
Cryer?
No, from Christine, you know, the film Christine.
Yes.
John Stockwell, John, him, and
John.
There was Keith.
and Dana Carvey. Anyway, there were about 6 of us screen testing with Ali Sheedy this day, and I remember during our screen test, Ali Sheedy's like looking at me like this, and so I'm trying to get her glance. I'm trying to get eyes to match. Why are you looking?
Like,
why are you looking through me? What's going on? And I look over there, Eric Stoltz standing in the corner of the soundstage. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And anyway, I don't know if that was the reason or not, but the connection didn't happen. I didn't get the role. The film changed its name to War Games, and Matthew Roderick beat all 6 of us out. And 2 weeks into shooting or so, Martin Brest got fired and replaced by John Badham. So you never know how Hollywood's going to work.
That's true.
But I came, you know, pretty close there and got an agent out of it. And though Martin Brest never called me again. What's up with that, Martin? Come on, Marty. I'm still working. Babe, are you still working? Come on, I don't want to work. I need to work, please. God help me. And then, you know, a year later, Lady Hawk. I'm on my way to Warner Brothers to the screen test for Lady Hawk when the agent calls and says, it's off. Matthew's come down in his price. And I'm like, fuck. Be greedy! Be greedy, Matthew! Because I had done Renaissance fairs, you know, since 73 or 4. And I had my these and thous and all. And this was a medieval piece right up my alley. And I wanted to. I fell in love with that script. So I want that script back, John Schwartzman.
Poor Jeffrey.
Let's carry on, shall we?
This is everything you want to get into and keep doing,
well,
huh?
I mean, yeah. Oh, of course. Once you get bit by the bug, that's it. You don't
But
go
look
back.
at the rash, the scar.
Oh, am I gonna get that too? Oh God, no.
Don't be showing us syphilis again.
But isn't it true? Is that once you fall in love with acting, it's like there's no going back. You'll do whatever to do it.
If it's in your heart, you got to do it. And if you take it seriously and you put it in your heart, you will be a success.
Yeah, if you put the work in and
you got to train. Luckily, you know, I think it was either Helen Hunt's dad or Gordon Davidson at the Mark Taper, who at one of those callbacks said, you know, you've got the talent, but you don't have the training. And I said, well, where do you suggest? He said, Juilliard. So 16 years at Juilliard. No, and I couldn't afford Juilliard or go back east. So I said, what's on the West Coast? And he said, ACT. And so that's why I hitchhiked up here and settled up here. Fell in love with San Francisco. Love it. What a great town. Because growing up in LA, you're kind of always, I don't know that everyone is, but I was always self-conscious, feeling like I had to live up to others' expectations or fit in a mold. Or in San Francisco, people let their freak flag fly and be themselves, and that's refreshing. And with great architecture. But now, of course, it's too expensive because of the techies. I can't afford to live there. I used to have a 4-bedroom flat in San Francisco for $4.25 a month.
Wow, not anymore.
79.
Oh yeah, it's $4.25 million
Million.
now.
No, that same flat, and it was Bernal Heights, which is not the greatest of neighborhoods. I think it's $4 grand, $5 grand now for that flat.
Wow.
So do you consider yourself a theater actor, a film actor? Like what at your
Yes.
core? Like yeah, all the above.
Yes,
all
I
the
just
above.
I'd love to work
Just
and
to act, yeah.
And I, it's taken many years to adapt to the different mediums to learn how to finesse it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is all the same if you are authentic and you're genuine and you're
Mm-hmm.
process oriented as opposed to result oriented, or if you don't have blinders on that this is my technique, and then when you find your technique is not working,
Yeah.
you're fucked.
Well, that's what I was going to ask
Sorry.
too. Is like,
Can I say that?
yeah. I was going to ask you, do you still kind of stick with the same technique, the naturalism and realism that you were talking about? Or do you
I try to,
bounce around?
because I do sometimes very heightened characters. Like
Mm-hmm.
right now, I have my mutton chops because I'm doing the Charles Dickens Christmas Fair,
Oh,
and I'm playing
okay.
Alfred Jingle, Esquire from Pickwick Papers, he's an actor, he's a performer, a thespian, and a con artist, and he speaks in
actor, typical actor, yeah.
disjointed sentences. Splendid affair, hoi polloi, capital business, rum fellow, very. He speaks like this all the time, and he's a heightened, wonderful character to bring to life that Dickens wrote deliciously. And I'm also directing 26 actors at it.
Oh wow.
And staging 8 scenes and such. And so I love that because it's environmental, and I stay in character all day, and it's exhausting, but it's so rewarding.
Yeah, you're constantly on. There's no cut. There's
It's
no
magic.
yeah.
And for video and television, you keep it a little bit bigger. Sometimes you can go real big, and you can keep it also intimate at the same time. For film, watching Clint Eastwood work, he puts it all at the end of his nose. It looks like he's not doing anything. Yet when it's on the big screen, it's full. Working with Michael J. Fox, who was weaned on TV, he's got a formula, and watching him work is just remarkable. He's the only actor I've ever seen call cut.
Really?
who wasn't directing.
Wow.
I've seen actors who are starring in it and then are directing it too, and will call cut because it's kind of their job, unless they say to their brother, "Will you call action and cut?" Yeah. But with Michael, he was doing that, and what a pro. He's doing the scene, and he finally says, "Cut." I didn't believe that myself, like that. And Zemeckis had no problem with that. Zemeckis is so smart as a director by casting incredibly competent talent.
Yeah.
He just, across the boards, of course he had the luxury of a year of casting, just a side thing that hit my brain was that Johnny Depp auditioned to be George McFly originally.
Oh wow.
I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
And then when Chris Lloyd passed on the film, they were looking at Dudley Moore and John Lithgow, and Doc Brown, it's Jeff Goldblum. It would have been a different film. Jeff Goldblum and Eric Stoltz. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And McFly. Michael wasn't available because the producers of Family Ties wouldn't let Michael see the script because Meredith Baxter Burney was pregnant, and they didn't want anyone to go anywhere because they were going to lose her, and they needed everyone in case. So they didn't even let Michael know about the Back to the Future project. And then after Eric Stoltz got the boot, Michael became available. She had her baby.
Wow.
Interesting history, huh?
Oh yeah.
I'm full of it. Pay me for this stuff. Look me up. Send me a check. I need it. I'm not working enough. I have some films in post, but anyway.
Awesome. So Back to the Future, you kind of got us there, segued us to it. So we would love to
Got us to the
hear
present.
about
Well,
all
okay,
your
so-
fun with George McFly.
So
Yes,
I was in between film and TV work in about '88 or so, and I was in '87. I started playing Stan Laurel, Laurel and Hardy at Universal on the tour, and the agent who originally called me up on that, who also used to play Stan Laurel, was a dear friend from Cock and Feathers and Renaissance Fair days, Jeffrey Breyer. He asked if I knew who Crispin Glover was. And I said, sure. I worked with him on a film at AFI back in '83 before he got the first Back to the Future film. I thought he was a fascinating actor. I said, what's up? He goes, well, they're looking for a photo double for him. And I said, that's
I
mine.
almost took your uncle. Oh my gosh.
Precious last drop. No, you're welcome to something. God, I want to get you lit.
Come
on, let's make your husband jealous.
It's
Right.
It's the mutton chops.
Put the
It's
green,
really-
put the green lipstick back.
Oh, he likes it when I get all serpentine. Like,
My wife is getting upset with me over there. She likes green. She likes green.
oh, she does.
And
Yes.
look, she's all
yes.
just come out here and sing a
Well,
number with me.
cheers to that. Cheers to that.
We were derailed there momentarily.
We had
so,
a moment.
You
I-
One
fiends.
of actors called. We had a bit. Yeah.
So I say to the agent, I said, is this for the sequel to Back to the Future? Because I heard it bandied about that they had thrown enough money at the principals to do that sequel. Because at the end of the first film, where they put it on video or whatever, and it said "to be continued," was a joke. It was never going to be continued. But the studio saw, in '85, Back to the Future was the highest grossing film of that year.
Wouldn't
So
doubt
of
it.
course the studio wants to do a sequel, and throw it
Right.
up.
Oh yeah. No question.
So they met everyone's demands, I guess, and they obviously needed a photo double for Crispin. And my ex-wife had just had our second son, or no, was expecting our second son, and I needed my insurance. I need money. And I needed a job. I'll be a stand-in, for God's sake, to get the medical insurance to have a good birth. And so in my mind, because I knew that this agent was offering the photo double for Michael as well, I figured they were going to need Marty in two places at the same time. They're going to need George in two places at the same time. So they'll shoot me from the back and Crispin from the front or something like this. And I'm going in for makeup fittings and body cast mold for fittings for special effects and blah, blah, blah. And I do a screen test with, for Bob Zemeckis and Dean Cundy's the cinematographer. Dean, who you've had on the show.
Dean, yes.
Yeah.
And Zemeckis says, "Dean, what do you think?" And Dean says, "I think we got Crispin without the trouble." I was like, "Huh? What do you mean, Crispin without the trouble? Crispin's not coming back?" And I couldn't fathom how they could make the film without Crispin. And that would really bug me. And so I remember going outside and being in this confused state and looking over in the soundstage next door. They were shooting Dick Tracy,
Oh. Wow.
Yep.
what's his name's?
The guy that can't. Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty.
And Madonna.
Al Pacino.
Ugh.
I'm thinking of
Dustin Hoffman.
his wife who went
Yeah.
to ACT too. Anyway, such a sweet lady. And
yeah.
these guys, I see, William Forsythe is flat top and that amazing makeup they had him in, and was it Pacino or Dustin Hoffman? Anyway, I see
both in it.
I see a couple of them there
Okay.
in these weird prosthetic makeups, and I'm in the weird prosthetic makeup as young George McFly. And let's lay in the photo here. You see that? Isn't that wild? Doesn't quite look like Crispin, but they're looking at me going, "What are you supposed to be?" And I'm looking at them like, "What are you supposed to be?" It was an interesting moment that only I had
Wow.
with them.
Oh.
It was interesting.
Wow.
So I get on set and I realized, and Universal manipulates my agent. They don't negotiate well for me at all. So I feel kind of crummy because here's everyone making millions, super millions, and I'm making a few thousand. And I get on set not feeling great about 4 hours of makeup to look like another actor, and now I have to imitate him. But I want the job, and so it's weird, and I start feeling like a scab. Michael looks at me and says, "Oh, Crispin ain't gonna like this," and whenever Zemeckis calls action, we're recreating right off the bat the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, and I'm kissing Leah, and whenever Zemeckis calls action, he either says, "Crispin," I'm like, or Leah, and I'm like, this is weird. So it was icky, and so I'd go out and hang out with Billy Zane in his trailer and get stoned while waiting to shoot, trying to figure out what the hell is this going to do. And sure enough, when the third film comes out, Crispin calls me up and says, "They screwed me on that." I said, "Yeah, I'll say." "Why didn't you do the film, you dog?" And he goes, "Well, it just didn't work out, and but they used my image and they used footage of me and they made you look like me, and that's not fair, and they want to pay me scale for that." And I go, "Well, that's not right." And so I got stuck in the middle of this court battle, and it was really, really icky. But Crispin eventually, settled out of court, for $750,000, and I made a few thousand. But I did all the work. John Schwartzman, I want my script back. So,
But you got to hang upside down in prosthetics.
yeah,
How much fun is that?
Over a 2-week period, some of those days, 19 hours, 21 hours, 22, 26-hour-long day hanging upside down.
Wow.
How many of those hours are you in makeup? Like, how long did it
All of
take?
it. Well, it took 4 hours to get into makeup.
Okay.
So if I had to be on set ready to work at 8:30, we'd get in the
call
makeup
time
chair
is
at
like-
4 in the morning
Yeah.
or 4:30, and then half an hour for breakfast, and then get
Yep.
on set, and then as old George in 2015 hung upside down, and they didn't want to get me down out of this rig all the time, the ortho love of the future. So they put a platform on a ladder and say, "Do a sit up," I'd do a sit up, and
Oh
they'd
my
slide it
gosh.
under me, and I'd lay back, and I can rest, and then everyone would go off and have coffee. And I'd be on the set all by myself going, "Boy, I want to take that home. I want to take that home. I want to take that." I couldn't take anything home. I'm hanging here.
Yeah.
I'm not a thief. So even though I don't care what Crispin says. So over the course of the week, I'm spending long hours, with a very sore back. And, during one of the takes, or in between takes, one of the crew guys comes over and goes, "All this torture was meant for Crispin."
Like, gee, thanks.
Here we go. And Crispin was originally supposed to play Seamus McFly in part 3.
Really?
And so of course he didn't come back, and because I don't look like anyone else that anyone knows from the movies, they didn't use me. And Bob Gale, of course, said, "We'll give you a part in part 3 as one of the cowboys or something." And I go, "Great! I'm still waiting, Bob. Where's that part, you dog?"
Even Dean Cundy got a little cameo
Dean
in part
Cundy
3.
got a cameo, and he wasn't even SAG at the time. And I came to Bob. I said, "I like this part here, this cameo of the Western Union guy delivering the telegram. Can I do that?" And he goes, "I think that's already been cast." I said, "Kick Joe Flaherty out of there." "No, I don't mean that, Joe. I love you." But yeah, promises and manipulations. It was what it is. But the idea was that they were going to keep me secret. They advertised, "Everyone's coming back." Oh no.
Nope.
I've got this wonderful picture of Elizabeth's shoe in my dressing room, and Elizabeth and I were like, "What are we doing in this show?" Where's Claudia? Where's Crispin? And she's such a doll. We had a really great time hanging out. That's my only time I got to spend with her. Damn it. I mean, well, no, darling, please.
Hold her back. Hold her back.
Now she's looking at me with like cutting eyes, daggers. So they kept me secret. They wouldn't give me photos. I couldn't promote myself. I was gonna promote myself in the film on a 10-city tour promoting Universal Florida, and mysteriously that whole tour got the plug pulled on it. It's like, oh God, what am I up against here? And so I just laid low and realized, these guys are not the nicest people in the world. So sure enough, Crispin settles, and Hollywood kind of becomes a footnote for me, and it was time for me to get out of Hollywood, so I came up here.
Wow.
And it's the fans that kind of discovered me. They realized, that's not Crispin. Who is this? And so I've had numerous podcasts and shows on radio and visits to cons. We did cast reunions like in London Comic-Con, where 11 of the cast members were brought out for the 25th anniversary. This next year is the 30th anniversary of Part 2, which I get the 6th billing in. My agent didn't negotiate that 6th billing for me. I did. On set, I said to Bob Z, I said, I had a co-star billing in Pale Rider. Do you think I could get that on this? Because my contract says producer discretion. And I don't want to be at the end, and Bob Z said, that's reasonable. I'll give you a shared title card.
Bob Z.
And so Bobby Z put me on that title card with James Tolkien, Principal Strickland, and James and I are now like this. I don't know who's who, but
No.
anyway, and so as soon as Bob Z obviously told the producers that, Neil Canton and Bob Gale came over to me furious, like, "Don't ever talk to them. How could you talk to the director?" I said, "I did. I did." Anyway, thank God Bob Z has integrity and kept his word. Hasn't
Awesome.
used me
Good.
since. Damn it.
Come on, Bob.
I'm
Z.
waiting. I need to work. His films are so wonderful. This new one,
Welcome to Marwin.
Welcome to Marwin, looks fantastic. And year after year, he churns out great films. Really a wonderful artist. I just feel so honored that I got to work with him.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's amazing.
And his wonderful crew. And his wonderful cast. Now, will you come back to work? I want to work again, please. No time.
And on that note, we're going to take a
On
quick
that
little
note,
break.
yeah.
It's about time.
We're gonna. I think it's time for your craft services break, and
Yes.
we'll come back and we're going to talk a little bit about our favorite holiday films.
Woohoo!
Experience your favorite horror, comedy, and science fiction films of the 70s, 80s, and 90s on the big screen with the Cult Film Series at Roxy 14. Double features Thursdays at 7 p.m. Visit us on Facebook for more information.
So welcome back, everyone.
It's
We're
a
still
cool
here.
Yule.
We're still
Welcome
here.
back to the Cult Show Holiday Special.
This is
with
like our extended
special
extended
guest.
holiday, holiday edition
Yes.
with Jeffrey Hairball Weissman.
I was supposed to make a reindeer for you.
Oh, that's right, the reindeer.
God, do you
Oh,
have
that's
about
right.
that?
How long is this
forgot.
friggin' show?
This is the marathon.
This is the New Year's Eve marathon. It's like, just keep dancing. Oh, wow. Woo.
16 years at Juilliard.
I bet Patti LuPone can't do that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She can do everything. She can do everything.
Oh, I got it back.
Oh,
Kelly's got a weird thing of putting pink long things in her face, so you gotta be careful with that.
John Schwartzman, I want that script back. Get me out of here. What a lucky guy.
Girl,
Should we,
I'll hold
we
it
do
for
music?
you.
Just the tip.
Did I mention my wife is right off camera? Hey, stop it.
It got in my mouth.
I'll see it. Okay. So carry on, because this takes a while.
So,
yeah.
what's your favorite Christmas movie? Nick?
What's going on with you?
Okay.
Can you sing some
I can't sing the
balloon
song.
music?
Balloon
You
music.
know, balloon music? Hey! There you go.
Oh no, don't do that.
Don't twist it.
sorry,
Oh
okay.
no. What did you do?
I was just playing with it.
That's the thing. You're always playing with it. One more.
Okay, what-
One more ball.
Okay. Oh, I can make over 500 different balloons. They all look like a dog.
Looks like he's got a little,
Yes, he does.
yeah, okay.
Oh no, this might not go so well.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So it is the
still love
holiday
him anyway.
It
season.
is,
Okay.
and on the holidays, one likes to give thanks for, not Thanksgiving, damn.
One likes to ring on a doorbell and say trick. No, that's not it. either.
So holidays. We're all cold. We want to get nice and cozy on the couch. So what do? We watch a movie.
We watch movies.
We watch
Jeffrey
movies.
Weissman make balloon animals.
Oh dear. It's coming.
Oh, okay. So we watch Christmas movies. But the question is, which ones? There are
Yes.
so many classics.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
there are certain
Die
ones
Hard.
that, yes, yeah.
Die Hard.
I mean,
Gremlins.
Gremlins, yes, yes. of course.
Miracle on 34th Street.
I was gonna say there's certain of those films that get played.
George
just,
Bailey.
They get played all day long on a loop. Christmas
Yes.
Story and
Yes.
Miracle on 34th, or
Yes.
It's a Wonderful Life.
I'm in a Christmas movie.
Which one?
Suicidal Christmas Trees.
Oh, I saw that.
You saw
You
it?
sent me the link, remember?
Yes. Oh, you see?
Yeah, that's right.
My friend. Only my friends get this link. Actually, you can
You
look
can
it up.
touch me. You can
Look it up. We're on
Oh,
YouTube,
oh.
right? It's on YouTube. Suicidal Christmas Trees. Look it up.
Okay.
It's totally worth it. Da, da,
It's
da,
actually
da.
it's a cute short. Cute short. Jeffrey.
He's deformed, but oh my God.
But all reindeer
Oh.
are special.
Yes.
There
yeah.
you are.
Thank you. Look how cute he is. Aww. Aww.
Don't get much better.
No, it really doesn't.
Sorry,
It
I'm
really
out of
doesn't.
practice. I haven't made a balloon in a few minutes.
And all the people outside like, we don't want any more balloons, Jeffrey. We're good.
Thank
you.
some of my
Yes,
favorite
very cute.
Christmas movies are like, what was that, Tales from the Crypt?
Y'all had a good episode? Yeah.
Wow. That scared the shit out of me. I'm serious. And when it came out, I was like, oh, I got to go see this. And there was Santa escaped from an insane asylum. And I was like, no! I mean, the guy in the box with the razor blades was bad enough. But here comes Santa with a... And it was like, no! That was horrifying for me.
What about Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Well, what about it?
Yes.
Did you see
That's
it?
another Santa killer.
Oh, okay.
I'm-
It's another creepy Santa one.
Scary movies scare the shit out of me.
Oh.
I can't take it. I'm into naturalism, and when they're really good, it scares
Yeah,
the crap
yeah.
out of me. It's like,
Yeah, these are, this one, Silent is a classic, obviously, in the horror genre. I mean, it's so good you've got a woman who gets impaled on a pair of antlers.
Oh,
a head on
that's-
the wall.
that's lovely.
Just
That
good,
is-
good, clean family fun.
It
I
is,
mean,
exactly. The
yeah,
lovely
yeah.
Linnea Quigley meets her death after, but she was having relations with a boy, in the basement. So that's what you get in the 80s when you have
When you have relations.
Yeah.
Relations.
Relations.
Yes, yes.
She should have taken him to the roof.
That's right. So that's a good one. A boy witnesses his parents murdered when he's young, and then he grows up. I think it was in some kind of home for.
Is that National Lampoon
children.
Vacation Christmas?
No, I'm talking about myself.
Oh.
So, but anyway.
This happened to you.
This
This
happened-
is a real. It's a documentary
Yeah,
about your life.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they decided to make into a movie that had
Yeah.
impaling on antlers.
Yeah.
I
So-
knew when I was managing this Victorian in San Francisco, I had these residents in the back I had to collect rent from who were making crystal meth in their bathtub, of course. And
Of course.
Of course.
And biker dude and Rusty, his wife. She was. I'll keep him in line. I won't let him. Keep you up all night with the music. And oh, okay. So I need the rent on time though. Anyway, she would tell me stories about. Unfortunately, she had one son who had AIDS and another son who was terribly deformed named Rocky, and this was like 79, 80 or so, I think. And so flash forward to about 83, I go audition for this Bogdanovich film about this kid with this terrible deformity.
Yeah.
And he tells me it's a tumor, I think, cancer. So he's got a brain tumor. And so I my head hurts, blah, blah, blah. I do the script. I don't get a call back. I don't get the role. But Eric Stoltz gets the role, and it's Mask.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see that Cher's playing this character named Rusty, and the kid's name is Rocky, and I go, this is the story of my tenant who are making crystal meth, and it must be. And a couple of years later, I run into Rusty at the Target in the Valley. I go, hey, Rusty, was that Mask about you and your kid? And she goes, yeah.
Wow.
She goes, I had a friend who asked if she could write the story, and I said, so Cher played you? She goes, yeah. And she's a little tiny redheaded. Anyway, never know what's going to happen with life.
All good things happen at
That's-
Target in the Valley.
I said, I almost played Rocky. I almost played your son.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that would have been cool.
You're like, yeah.
Could have used the
Yeah,
role.
woulda.
It didn't do anything for Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, right, exactly. Didn't help get his name out there, but that's
Serious
okay.
actor. Too serious for Back to the Future.
That's right. He got Pulp Fiction, so it was okay.
Another Christmas movie, Pulp Fiction.
Wow. Let's see. There's Santa's Sleigh.
Yep.
SLAY.
Yeah, whoa.
Oh, that's a
So
really
there's
scary one.
So the good ones. There's actually a really good one that
So
you need
the
to
good
check
ones.
out. It's not scary. Called Christmas Evil, and it is actually a really fun story about a man who just loves Christmas, and he gets to a point where he is just fed up with the naysayers and the humbuggery in the world, and goes out and gets angered at the end. But it's actually a delightful little
Isn't
story.
that Elf?
Similar.
So,
Yeah.
Christmas Evil is a good one. I would recommend
Yeah.
Christmas Evil. It's a
Oh.
lesser known film, but it's not too scary for you, I think. I
Thank
think
you.
your pants will remain dry and clean.
Great.
How
So,
That's always
Just how we like 'em.
story. When I
Yeah.
grew up, Christmas was a time of, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman. God awful films. Terrible, Burl Ives and
Yeah.
Jimmy Durant.
Like the
Jimmy Durant.
claymation.
No one
What
goes
were they
back.
trying to pass on us? They think we're idiots? What are you thinking, you creators of that dreck? Sorry.
The classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeers and
It was wonderful.
Frosty.
So thank God Peanuts Christmas came out,
Right.
Charlie Brown.
That
Christmas.
fantastic. What's his name? Crapaldi? The music. Vince
Guaraldi.
Vince
or-
Guaraldi.
yeah,
God bless him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such great music.
Yeah.
Wow.
Christmas time is here. And everybody. Peanuts dance like this.
Yeah.
Everybody, let's
Yeah.
dance.
I don't know. It must be like a thing with the we must be out of material if that's what we're doing now.
Maybe.
So, oh man. I don't
Suicidal
know.
Christmas trees. You can't go wrong.
Google it.
That's the best one.
YouTube it.
Okay, so big ones though. Gremlins is a classic Christmas film. It's argued sometimes, but I don't know why, because it is
Debated.
Christmas. Your friend, you said? Dear friend of yours in it?
Frances Lee
Wait a
McCain,
minute.
who played Lorraine Baines' mom, Leah's mom in Back to the Future,
Right.
Mrs. Baines. What was her first? Stella Baines was Frances Lee McCain. She was also the mom in Footloose and numerous films. Wonderful, wonderful actress, and she's the mom in Gremlins, who, puts them in the blender
And the microwave.
and the microwave.
Yeah.
I can't believe we didn't say Black Christmas yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
Black Christmas.
Debated as maybe one of the first slasher films. Like that one and Halloween are always kind of like neck and neck. This was the first one. No, this was the first one. I don't know.
But for sure, one of the first
For sure.
Christmas horror.
Yes.
full on,
yes,
you know,
yes.
Margot Kidder.
Margot Kidder.
Oh,
yeah.
And
So, great film.
Oh, God rest her. She was a feisty woman. We shared a van once from a Comic-Con. She was wonderful.
Oh.
Wild. She got around, that girl.
Okay. Some stories she told you, or you just witnessed?
She and others. Yes.
yeah,
Anything
I'm
else?
trying to think of any other ones.
Nothing else you love or watch every single year? No?
Hallmark Christmas movies.
Is the
Which
red shoes?
honestly, I
No.
swear have a cult following, those things. I know you don't believe me, but they do. There are people out there that watch them obsessively.
Okay, I believe you.
He doesn't
No,
believe
I
me.
believe you. I just think they're, they're people that don't
That-
enjoy good entertainment. Is this thing on? I don't remember. Are we recording? Okay.
But haven't you ever seen something that's so bad that it's good?
Yes. I'm watching it right now. I have it in front of us.
We're creating this.
Oh. I was
Hey,
gonna
Jeffrey, you're a part of it.
I appreciate it. Oh, I just feel so loved to be included in this. I think I'll sing a song.
Sing what I know this time.
Are we caroling?
The guy who wrote the song was deaf. He couldn't hear he couldn't sing a note. How's it go?
Yes.
Yes.
The guy who wrote the song was deaf. He couldn't hear a note. This is the verse. This is the verse. But he knew all the words he did, and that is why he wrote the first verse first. The first verse first. Let me have some more of this. The bird who wrote the words was as crazy as a loon. There's nothing to the song but the tune. And this is the chorus of the song. This is the chorus you're hearing now. You make up the words as you go along, 'cause no one pays attention anyhow. Tra-la-la, dum-de-dum. If you want to, you can whistle it or hum. When you're singing the song to your friends, remember this is where the chorus ends. This is the chorus once again. Tra-la-la-la, with sealing wax. A rooster is different from a hen. Have you ever sharpened pencils with an axe? Sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline, you're the kind of a girl that men forget. Here's the part everybody recommends, because it comes just where the chorus ends. I think I may have sang that twice.
There it is.
Yay!
Bravo! Wow.
Well, there's our Christmas Carol right
know.
there.
This-
I mean,
this-
we don't need it.
I think this is...
Jiminy, Jim, Jim,
Oh.
Jim, Jim. Oh, that's next week.
That's copyrighted. You can't do that one.
Oh,
Are you going to
oh.
Mary Poppins next week?
I already saw it, actually.
You bastard.
I know. It's,
How was my friend
people.
Dick Van Dyke in it? Revising his role.
That's a spoiler.
Oh, lips sealed.
No, actually, that's the part where everyone cheered.
Yay!
When he comes back in, everyone cheered.
I can't wait.
So-
to
Well,
see it.
shout out to the animators.
I'm also looking forward to Stan and Ollie, because I played Stan Laurel for many years.
Yeah.
If you went to Universal Studios between '87 and 2001, and you had your picture with Laurel and Hardy, it's probably me. And so everyone and their mother write me and say, "What do you think of the new Stan and Ollie?" And I said, "I haven't seen it yet, but it looks great." And John C. Reilly
Does
is
look good.
Oliver Hardy is makeup. He should get. I know he's probably going to get nominated for an Academy Award from what the buzz is, but his makeup is astounding. And then Steve Coogan looks like he's done a decent job as Stanley, and it's about their, trying to keep their careers alive. It's got the drama of their later days.
You
Yeah.
heard it here first.
Yes.
Yes.
I look forward to it. I love those two. So, yeah.
And then look me up on YouTube in a film called Teamwork. It's a short where I play Stan Laurel. You can see my work
Yay.
for free.
Do you want to plug anything else? Websites or Facebook, Instagrams?
Social media of any
Twitters.
sort.
Yes, I've got a couple films in post-production. One that we
Okay.
shot here in Santa Rosa called The Judge. Daniel Sullivan, what's going on with that film? Where's it showing? I don't know.
Daniel Sullivan that used to do creature features?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He directed it, and it's a fun sci-fi. One in post is called The Eden Theory, that a kid that I mentored in the Midwest wrote and put the money together and produced it with Larry Hankin from the committee. He's co-stars in it with me. One that I shot years ago has finally come to surface. It's doing the festival circuit right now, called American Brothers, in which I play a very bad doctor. Very bad.
Uh-oh.
I have an excellent death. And I'm teaching. I've launched Bay Area Professional Actors Studio, and I have a studio in Berkeley, San Bruno, and I'm developing one in San Rafael. So we are the Bay Area Professional Actors Training.
Is there a website they can find about that? Or
Bay Area Professional Actors Studio.com.
We'll link it below.
Hopefully it'll-
Yeah, down there. It's down there. It's like, yeah.
And I'm always teaching. I Skype teach. I've got I don't know if you football fans out there know Michael Wilhoit, defensive lineman for the Niners and the Seahawks. He's one of my students currently. He's
We don't know
broadcast.
sports.
Oh, well, I'm here to tell you. He has done amazing work. What I love about pro athletes and people like you who have their hearts into their craft, when you take it seriously, and I give notes because, I've been doing this for 45 years. I think I know what I'm doing. And I coach you and I'm process oriented and all this. And when I see someone take it to heart and really work it and advance as quickly as this guy, it's so refreshing and so lovely to see. Do your homework. Do your homework, rehearse, and put your heart into it, and don't settle for result-oriented stuff, and don't let anyone tell you my technique is the only technique. It's what works for you is the technique that works.
Yeah, and I always find as long as you're 100% committed, like that's when it happens. It's that full commitment.
Yeah.
Because you can tell when someone's half-assing it, and it's like, ooh, cringe. But yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're starting to get cringeworthy now, so I think.
And so with that, on that note, yeah.
starting. I've been
Oh,
cringeworthy for a while.
my. Oh,
Yeah.
my voice. Let's get our props, yeah.
Come on, everybody.
Let's all go.
The hook.
From our home to yours, we wish you all a happy holidays, a Merry Festivus for the rest of us. And yes, come join us. Get nice and cozy.
From the Colt Show, a very happy
From the Colt Show.
holidays.
Yes. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the new year. A whole new slew of shows for you. We got Beetlejuice, we got Suspiria, and all kinds of surprises that I'm not going to spoil now. Ooh.
Suspiria looks great.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'll see you in the future. Hopefully they'll show a few of my cult films, and I'll come and you can play charades with me.
That's right.
Sounds like a plan.
I think we have a new talent for you. Improv charades.
I need the work.
Happy holidays!
And where's that script? Okay guys, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. Just learned a very cool piece of information while we're doing this interview. Turns out Jeffrey Weissman and I were in a movie together. Yes, we were in a movie together. It's called Flying Saucer Rock and Roll, directed by Eric Calero. We filmed it in Santa Cruz years ago, and we just learned this while we're talking on the couch over there. It's just this full circle moment. I'm pretty excited. It was pretty cool. There he is!
My co-star!
My co-star! See, I mean, this is just amazing. Let's get into frame. Find your light, get into frame.
My back! My back!
So thanks again, Jeffrey, and thank you guys for watching.
She should have taken him to the roof. Goodbye.
Hang on.
Well, that was fun.
Thanks for coming.